Hello.
There we go. There we go. We got him.
How's it going?
It's going good now that ASU's fucking killing
Yeah, I
everything
know.
up,
I'm excited. Yeah, the fumble recovery, two of them now.
bro. And it's funny because the commentary they're treating Cam Scatterby like Patrick Mahomes, like they're just
I love
talking.
it. I love it. Cam Scatterby to the league for sure.
Oh yeah, we got to get him to the NFL. We got to get Sam Levitt up there, and we got to get to the national championship first. That's
Yeah, I agree.
priority numero uno. But this is gonna be a big episode. It's like first Army one probably gonna be released on Christmas, so it's gonna be
Nice.
interesting.
Yeah, it'll be exciting. I'm excited to watch it.
Oh yeah, 100%. And how was your? Were you supposed to be doing were you wrestling right now or like what happened?
I was supposed to go. I ended up not going. I went to the new gym, and we
Okay.
were tearing down drywall, and I was like, I kind of want to watch the game instead. So
Yeah, I feel you, man. Yeah, how is the new gym, by the way? Is
it's
it
huge. It
really?
is huge, yeah. I mean, it's like 2 stories. It's gonna be a good time. The striking room is like the size of our gym now.
Really?
Yeah,
Okay.
it's gonna be good. It's gonna be good. I'm
Jesus,
excited.
man. Yeah, I'm gonna be missing out on it. I'm actually gonna be leaving Arizona pretty soon, so it's like
Oh, really? Like for good?
sort of. So I got a travel job, like doing I'll be working in semiconductors and stuff, but they're paying for like all my housing, like my vehicle, like pretty much every living
Okay.
expense out there. So I'm just gonna store some of my stuff and then just go travel where I work, pretty much.
Mm-hmm. No, that's not bad. Yeah.
Yeah, it'll be fun worth it. But are you from Arizona originally?
No, I'm from Chicago. I
Oh, okay.
moved out of here after the army because my parents moved here too.
Mm. Yeah, it checks out. There's a lot of Illinois people living.
Yes, there are for sure.
Mm. So you've only been in Arizona then for like a year then, right?
Yeah, just about. Yeah.
Okay. Did you go to the army out of Illinois?
Yes, out of high school at Illinois. My mom signed for me when I was 17, and that was wraps. That was done. Got out of Chicago, and never looked back. Honestly,
All right. Well, you had to have been pretty experienced, or I think pretty ready for the army since you lived in Chirac your whole life. I mean, you had to.
I lived in a nice part, but everyone always says that. I'm like, no, no, not all. It was a pretty nice part. Had a decent life growing up, so nothing like that.
Okay. And then you were an engineer or combat engineer, right?
Yes, yes. They have those in the Marine Corps too. I hear. I forget the MOS code for the Marine Corps version of them. I don't
Yeah.
know if you know or not, but
Yeah, I forget them too. They're because they're not like considered an O3, like they're not considered an infantry MOS on paper. So it's
okay, yeah.
they're
Excuse my fire alarm, by the way. It just started beeping today, and I don't have a ladder to fix it. So
Oh, I don't hear anything on.
okay, cool.
So that's
All right, cool. Yeah, I just want to make sure.
Oh, you're good. Yeah, I would say the same. I don't know if you can hear Maya because like I'm having like a little mini party right now for like the ASU game.
Oh, okay.
My roommates and like the people that he goes with, like they're all that's like you just hear him yelling every
I
time.
don't hear him at all, so that's good.
Oh yeah. What made you pick an engineer though? I've never I don't know too many engineers, like so I'm kind of curious what brought you to that.
So crazy story with that one. I wanted to be a combat medic actually, but on the ASVAB, I believe it's like a 110 GT score for combat medic, and I had a 108, and they wouldn't let me waiver up. And my recruiter actually told me that I was going to be, building a lot, engineers, construction. Obviously, that was mostly a lie. But I heard the building, and I was going to sign with the infantry, but I wanted to do something a little bit more, that maybe would translate to after the army, but ultimately I realized it's kind of the same thing, just different. But yeah, I mean, I was super interested in being a combat medic. It's kind of what I wanted to do. I wanted to go to college after to be nurse, and I always liked the medical field, but things happen, and combat engineer was staring me in the face, and watched a couple videos. You know how it goes. The recruiter tells you, and those wraps. I mean, I did enjoy the combat engineer job, though. It wasn't the same as what my recruiter told me it was going to be, but for most part, I really did have a good time.
Yeah. So were you because from what I've heard, like at least on the Marine side, it's almost always like demolition.
Yes.
essentially what you were doing too?
Yeah. So basically, like my job, I was in a heavy mechanized unit, so like I was a dismount for a time on the Bradley, which is a big part of the Army.
Hmm.
And so I got to do some time as a gunner. I did a little time as a driver, and I was a dismount in the back. So the dismount job is where like the engineer kind of stuff will come in. A lot of demo ranges, a lot of stuff like that, a lot of sea wire. I mean,
Yeah.
I could count, miles and miles and miles and miles of sea wire we put up. Yeah, I mean, demolition and I say like construction, but really just like sea wire, barbed wire, stuff like that. A lot of that kind of stuff we did.
Hmm.
Um, and then I didn't get to personally do it, but it's just kind of platoon dependent, especially like in a heavy mechanized unit. My unit or my platoon was mostly in charge of like the Bradleys and everything like that. And then second platoon was more like route clearance stuff. So like the stuff you saw like in the Middle East, what engineers kind of did then,
Yeah.
route clearance, IED stuff. Didn't get to work with a lot of that kind of stuff, but I get to see second platoon do it, and it's looks pretty interesting.
Hmm. Now, when you say Bradley, so like you were working with tanks then, right? Is that,
So different.
or am I thinking of something different?
So tanks are just like so Bradleys are like an infantry troop carrier. So their like main objective is the dismounts in the back. Well, not the main one of the objectives they have is like the dismounts in the back. It's just like an armored personnel carrier that holds 6 to 7 troops in the back.
Yeah.
Infantry uses them, Cav Scouts use them, Fisters use them, engineers use them.
Oh,
Usually,
okay. I know what I'm pulling it up on Google right now.
yeah, yeah,
I know what
yeah.
you're talking about.
I actually have a Lego one right here.
Oh,
I had
really?
Yeah, I just finished building it. I had to take
Oh,
the
sick.
gun off because my cat decided to chew it up. But
Mm.
I mean, I can actually show you like this is where the troops go in the back right there.
Whoa, dude, we're getting like a live tour right
The ramp can drop, or I don't know if it'll let me open it.
now.
There's the hatch too right here
Uh,
that the troops will dismount from if the Bradley's moving. But
okay.
stuff, yeah, and then the gunner sits in the turret right at the top here.
Yeah.
Got to do some time with that as well, which was honestly my favorite part of being in the Bradley. I mean, the 25 millimeter gun, the fully automatic. There's nothing more American than shooting that.
Yes. Shooting on the government's time.
Yeah, right. But those things, well, let me tell you, the maintenance that we would do on them. I mean, we would go to gunnery once or twice a year, and then the rest of the year is just straight maintenance on them.
Mhm.
9 a.m. work call up until 5 or 6 p.m. We'd go home, and the whole time is just knee deep in whatever we're doing with
Yeah.
those things. So yeah, whatever fun we have, we have our fair share of grinding out the mechanic stuff of it as well. Which
Mhm.
the computer also does not tell you.
Yeah.
Didn't mention that.
No. So where did you all get to go? I mean, like between stateside deployments, anything
Mhm.
like where were you, like put all
Yeah,
around?
so started out in Fort Leonard Wood, Missouri, where I did my basic training. I don't know how it works for the Marine Corps, but for Army combat jobs have OSIT, which is one station unit training. So my AIT or advanced individual training is in my basic training. So right as I graduate basic, I still have the same drill sergeants and all that, and I just go right back into AIT or OSIT. Combat engineers have the shortest OSIT, which is I think it's only 4 or 5 weeks after you graduate basic. While like Cav Scouts infantry is like 16. So
Hmm.
definitely a plus for that one. No one wants to be stuck in basic training. But so after Fort Leonard Wood, I did about around 16 weeks there. I went to Fort Carson, Colorado, where my duty station was. Loved Colorado. Colorado was great. It's Fort Carson's in Colorado Springs. So, I mean, I looked out my window every morning in the barracks and I had, mountains out there. It was beautiful.
Hell yeah.
Yeah, I mean, the mountains were awesome. It was just too cold. I know I grew up in the Midwest or whatever, but I'm not a fan of the cold. Those fields were pretty crazy out there. I
Yeah.
remember my first ever field in Colorado. It was like -5 out, and we were out there for a week, and it snowed 3 feet because Colorado it snows a lot.
Oh,
Um, you know, all we had were our sleeping bags. So we woke up every morning, completely submerged, just head to toe in snow. Um, Definitely a life-changing experience there, definitely built some character. Um, it was very controversial because a lot of us thought we should have been home because people were getting frostbite. And,
Hmm.
uh, I like to say the Army's the only, or the military is the only profession where you could get made fun of for having frostbite.
Hmm.
I got it on my foot a little bit, and being a new private, you know how it is. The senior guys in my platoon, found out, and all I hear is, "Oh, Geffen's got frostbite. He's such a baby." Blah blah blah, and it's just, that's just the definition of the Army right there.
Yeah.
But after Colorado, I did some time at NTC. I don't National Training Center up in Fort Irwin, California. Just
Hmm.
did 30 days up there. Send you some pictures of me up there as well, or to out there.
Okay.
So the training center actually is as big as Rhode Island, if not bigger.
Mm.
So yeah,
Okay.
it's pretty huge. It's just desert. There's nothing out there. We got to do like, the big old laser tag, put the lasers on the Bradleys, and we would do force on force with the OP4, which is just, other Americans that were stationed there.
Hmm.
Good time. Funny story from there. Our first day, I'm still a private at the time.
Yeah.
Um, KP duty, you know how it goes. KP, do you have that in the Marine Corps?
What is it called?
Kitchen personnel. It's just a detail where you clean the dishes after.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
But
They
yeah.
call it like, yeah, we have other terms for it, but yeah.
Okay, yeah. So as a private, get your ass on the KP. So the mile we had to walk was in the middle of the desert. So me and a couple other privates were told, hey, walk, 45 degrees in this direction. You'll see the kitchen, blah, blah, blah. It's daytime. So we see it, no problem. They're like, when you come back, just follow the flashing lights. I was like, okay, cool. Like flashing lights, because on the Bradleys, there's the lights or whatever. So you can see, it's 11 o'clock by the time we're done. We're scrubbing dishes all night. We're
Mhm.
supposed to be training, but you know how it goes.
Yeah.
So we like head out of the tent to head back, and there's flashing lights there, there's flashing lights there, there's flashing lights there. So we're like, oh, like I guess we'll just go to the flashing light in the middle. Wrong direction. We ended up walking 4 or 5 miles in the wrong direction. There's a whole search party, and like, what are we supposed to do? We're
Yeah.
brand new privates, no compass, anything. So that was a whole scene. Good start to one of my first fields in the Army. Yeah, I can get into more stories about that if you'd like. But after Fort Irwin, I went back to Fort Carson, where we deployed to Poland at the time of the Russian-Ukraine war. Basically, we got to do like the global response over there and train up the NATO guys. I
All right.
personally didn't get to work with any Ukrainians, but a lot of my unit got to work with Ukrainians and like field artillery and like sending them more equipment and just stuff like that. While I was in Poland, I just worked with the Poles a lot. The British were there. I go
Mhm.
on and on about the British. Those guys are they talk a lot. I'll tell you that. Cool guys though. And then the Lithuanians were there. I mean, all the NATO countries were there. It was a cool time. I got to see different cultures, stuff like that. And
Oh, yeah.
then 5 months in, I went to Lithuania on the border of Belarus and Lithuania, where we basically just sat there as like a force on force, like, because Belarus had their army and, right across the border. So we kind of just sat there. There's a couple National Guard units, Lithuanian unit there, and a Norwegian unit, I believe.
Mhm.
And we shot a gunnery there, actually. So the Norwegians and the Lithuanians got to see our gunnery.
Okay.
Those of you who don't know what gunnery is, it's basically like qualifying on the Bradley. So you need a 3-man crew to qualify. And basically, once that crew qualifies, like, you're set. Like, you can't like change that crew up. So
Mm.
you qualify about twice a year. Yeah, I mean, it was a pretty difficult gunnery. It was so hot out there, and every round they had tracer rounds on the 25 millimeter. It would start fires in the field out there. So every couple of shots we had to put the fire out, and come
Mm.
back. So like,
Yeah.
yeah, and then one of the fisters actually ended up shooting a round into a local village, of course. So obviously no one was hurt, but things do happen. But yeah,
Hey,
that's pretty
don't
bad
let
mishap.
they happen.
Yeah, I mean, it does unfortunately happen. It shouldn't. That's the ultimate goal. But new privates get on. Get a hold of things that they're maybe not trained up as well as they should be. Things happen, and obviously you'll get disciplinary. It's like a negligent discharge, basically.
Hmm.
You gotta start it all over again. Went back in about 9 or 10 months from Lithuania. Actually got to go to Ranger school, but hurt my foot there, so it didn't get to didn't get the outcome I want. But I was 19. It was a good experience for me. Didn't get to go back. It's hard to go to Ranger school in a infantry or in an engineer unit,
Hmm.
especially mechanized, because light infantry, heavy mechanized engineer, doesn't get a lot of opportunities to go to a light infantry school. But
Hmm.
still a lot of cool experiences. There's actually a lot of Marines there too. Fun
Hmm.
fact: most of them failed push-ups on the first day.
Yeah, they don't teach. Yeah, we're big fans of the pull-ups, not the push side.
Yeah. But when you get to Ranger school, a lot of the time there's not enough beds for everyone. So
Mhm.
like it's called the 41 Club. A lot of people just get dropped on push-ups, even though they're doing them, perfectly fine.
Mhm.
A little unfair, but it is what it is. Never got to go to sapper school.
Mhm.
Wish I would have gone to sapper school instead of Ranger school, but I'm gonna take whatever I can get.
Which ones are sappers again?
Engineers. So sapper just means
Oh,
engineer in French.
okay.
Sapper school is like a similar leadership school to Ranger school, except it's just engineer tasks and stuff. I mean, you learn how, engineer patrols are a little different than infantry patrols when it comes to, I believe I was obviously in a mechanized unit, so I never really got to, get into like the whole engineer foot patrol, but
Mhm.
I believe there's a couple more 240s in the light engineer patrol rather than the light infantry. So it's a little different. You learn a lot about modern demolition, stuff like that. Fun fact: I believe one of the bombers, I don't want to say the Unabomber, maybe the Oklahoma City bomber, went to sapper school actually when he did his time in the army. Yeah.
Interesting. Okay.
I could be getting it mixed up. I know one of those famous bombers, terroristic bombers, was one of the guys that went to sapper school. Actually, one of them was in the same company as me in basic training, which is crazy to think about.
Okay.
Um, but yeah, I mean, you
You
get to
are
learn.
doing okay, right? You don't plan on like going
No,
up against
yeah,
that.
I am okay. I personally never got to learn how to build the bombs like from scratch, but if you put the two in my hand, I will be able to build you whatever you want.
Mm.
Yeah, fun fact, all engineers are on a watch list the second they graduate basic training. Just in
Like
case, yeah, there's like an FBI watch list that we get put on just because we work with so much explosives and know how to use them and stuff.
you have
Um,
no sarcasm or joke in your voice, so that's like legit,
no, no,
right?
no, I'm being serious. Yeah.
Really?
Yeah, you get put on a watch list for engineers. I'm pretty sure there's a couple other jobs that you get put on a list for too. But
Mhm.
I mean, like, it's just a list. Like, it's nothing really more to it. These like, hey, these guys are handled explosives in the army. Just heads up. um, but yeah, I mean, when we go to the demo ranges, they would give us thousands of pounds of C4. I mean, we would
Yeah.
be able to do whatever we wanted with it. Good experiences. There was a field in particular I remember in Lithuania where it was like maybe 15 degrees out and raining sideways.
Mhm.
It was a claymore slash demolition range, and it was just so awfully cold and like wet that like, oh man, the snipers were there, so we brought us the sniper section that was attached to us with us, and it was so cold they just left. They took their Humvee and they left. They said, "Thanks, guys, we're good." Uh,
Jesus.
yeah, it was a pretty rough field. But
Mhm.
good experience, a lot of C4, a lot of breaching charges. An engineer job is to build those breaching charges for the doors and stuff. So we would build them and practice blowing them up and stuff,
Mhm.
which was good. And then on our way out of that field, the LMTV got stuck in the mud and we couldn't leave after like 8 hours of being there.
Mhm.
It's a rough field. Yeah, I remember that.
Mhm.
Good times looking back on it. It sucked then, but it was a crazy field.
Misery loves company.
Yes.
What was Ranger school like? I didn't really get to pick on that a little bit, but I'm kind of
Yeah, so obviously, I didn't really make it that far. I stress fractured like the part of my like toe right here coming down. I know this is my hand, but like kind of show you like the
yeah.
bone, in the toe. So first I went to pre-ranger school in Fort Carson, where it was a 12-day, kind of like a lead up to the actual school.
Yeah.
where you learn like, so the first phase of Ranger School is like rap week, basically. Not the first phase, the first week. So rap week is the assessment phase where basically it's like your 12 mile, your land nav, your they have like these tasks you have to do, like disassembly of the 240, 249 radios, claymores, but you got to do it in like a specific order. You know, if you mess up the order, you know, they bye, you're out. All simple stuff. So that's pretty much what you go over in the PRC, we call it, pre-ranger course. It's the same thing, you know, limited food, no sleep, you know, you're smoking all day, you know, you're getting smoked. They make you do a 12 mile in the pre-RC as well. And then the last couple of days is like all your patrolling stuff that you'll do in the first week or the first phase of Ranger School, Derby phase. You know, just your common patrol, Vietnam style patrol. You have your rucksack on, whatever weapon you're carrying. It's pretty heavy. It's probably 80 to 100 pounds. And we would just patrol, you know, I'd say upwards of 10 miles a day. And this is in PRC too. So I'm pretty sure this is how my foot ended up hurting. Because you go from right to PRC, you have like a couple days and you're in Ranger School. But PRC was rough. I mean, we started with like 30 people, you know, it's just smaller because it's just based on your base. We ended up with like 13 or 14 people. It was a pretty humbling experience just in PRC, you know. I was a 19-year-old private there, the youngest one. So I really had no real experience in the Army and in patrolling at all, actually. Those guys, they taught me everything I needed to know.
Yeah.
And then they actually test you out there too. Like they make you lead a patrol, you know, map a compass, the whole 9 yards. And if you don't pass, they won't send you to the school because they want full faith. And then, yeah, I mean, you get to Fort Benning right after that. And there's probably 400 people that start off in the school. This is just from my experience. You know, I didn't make it very far, but
Yeah.
just from my experience, you know, the first day we had 400 people, and then after like you take a fitness test the first morning, which is 49 push-ups, 49 sit-ups. It might be, you know, plus or minus 10 here, and then a 5-mile run in 40 minutes or less. So simple stuff, you know, not too hard. But you know, after the first day, 400 people turn into 200-ish.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, people drop. And you got to shave your head. You know, females have to shave their head too, which is crazy.
Interesting. Okay.
So you better hope, you know, if you're anyone, but like female especially, you know, you shave your head, you better hope you're staying, you know. But you know,
I didn't expect that. I would think
yeah,
big Army probably wouldn't be, you know, doing stuff like that, but that's pretty I don't want to say cool, but it's
yeah, I mean, it's a pretty tough school. I see why they do it. I went in the middle of summer, like midsummer, you know. And it was upwards of 110 degrees every day, 100% humidity, and people would literally just drop like flies. Like we'd, you know, be back from a run or whatever, or like coming back from like the water assessment course, which I can explain it after. Basically, like people would just drop, like they would just drop like heat cat. It was really bad. And if you heat cat in Ranger School, you can't come back in the summer ever again, because once you have one heat cat, I guess you're more prone to have them again. Which I honestly didn't know. But yeah, I mean, so the water assessment course, it's a couple, I'd say a couple miles. It's been a while since I've been there. It's been a couple of years, so I really don't remember how far of the run it was. Everything's in boots. Basically, you get to this lake. It's a huge, you know, beautiful lake in Georgia, where they do like this water assessment course to see, you know, if you can swim and, you know, stuff like that, because there has been a couple of deaths in like the Florida phase of Ranger School because people can't swim. But basically they make you climb up this probably 40 or 50-foot ladder where there's just a balance beam like across the water, like just a skinny little beam, and there's a step in the middle, you know, but there's no railings, obviously. So no one wants to be that guy that falls, you know, because it, you know, embarrassing. So everyone, you know, freaks out. It was pretty high up there. I'm not gonna lie. I'm not really scared of heights or anything, or water or anything like that. But it was pretty high up there. And then you walk across the beam onto this rope. On the other side, there's a rope. They make you hang, just, you know, up and suspended in the air. And then you have to request a drop. Obviously, they're like, no, do a pull up or two. So you have to do these pull ups, and then you just look down and you drop like the 50 feet down. It was pretty fun. I'm not gonna lie. It was probably the highlight when I was there. That's when when I got out of the waters, when I felt my foot, like I heard the pop. I was running to the next part of the course and like I could hear the pop on like the top of my foot. I was like,
Mm.
obviously I'm not going to just give up, you know? So
No.
I'm literally dragging my foot on the ground to the next spot, which is basically like a 300-foot stairway. Basically, there's at the top of the 300 feet, there's like a zip line, but there's no harness or anything. You literally just hold on like this and
Mm-hmm.
they say go. And it's like a downwards, like a, trying to think, like a 60-degree angle, just straight down.
Yeah.
And when you get close, they have a flag and they throw the flag down and like you just hit the water, like boom. Fun experience. And then after that, you have to like retrieve an M4 from like the bottom of the lake or something like that, which is not hard stuff. If you can swim, like it'd be more fun, you know.
Mm-hmm.
And then the run back, I remember, I just couldn't step on my right foot at all. I was literally dragging it behind me. I was like, oh, you know, like it's just the moment, like the feeling set in of like I don't know what I'm gonna do, you know.
Yeah.
So the next day is land nav, basically. It's I think it's around a 10 or 15 mile course. It's a super easy course. Every point is off of an intersection or road. Yeah, I mean, I could have probably not even used my compass if I'm being honest. You at every point, you know, 300 meters at the most is off of a road. You know, you just shoot your azimuth and you walk in that direction. You'll find your point. But
Mm-hmm.
you know, you start in the night off of no sleep, and I had my foot. I actually found all my points. I just couldn't make it. Couldn't make it back. And that's just about how it ended. It was upsetting at first, you know, 19, you know, my first real Army school, but you know, it was a learning experience. It was still a great time, and you know, maybe one day I'll be back in the Army. You never know, and maybe I'll get to make my return.
No, of course. Do so like when you actually like broke your or like I guess when they discharged you from the school, were you like limb due or like how were you?
I was pretty much of a wreck. I'm not gonna lie. I had spent, you know, a year or two training up for it.
Mm-hmm.
So that when you get dropped, they like there's like just like here's your I didn't have my phone because they make you turn your phone in. There's
Yeah.
just like a taxi number on the side of the of like where like I'm blanking on the name, 42 Alpha, the paper guys, HR guys.
Yeah. Like
Yeah,
admin
like
and
yeah,
stuff.
the admin guys. So basically like they're just like good luck. Um so I found these two officers who actually heat catted, and they had a truck there because they were in BOLIC, which is like the basic infantry course or whatever, basic officer leader course.
Mm-hmm.
Um, these guys picked me up. You know, I was a mess. No sleep. You know, no food. You know, broken foot. 19-year-old. So they actually bought me Chick-fil-A, dropped me off at my hotel, made sure I was good. You know, don't
Mm-hmm.
remember their names, but shout out to them if they ever find this podcast. I still remember you guys. You guys were a great help to me.
Yeah, send some Chick-fil-A while you're at it.
Yeah, right. Yeah, I mean, they bought me my food. You know, it was that as you know, I wasn't there too long, but you know, it still tasted damn good. I'm not gonna lie.
Oh, of course it would after all
Yeah.
that.
hmm What rank were you when you got out?
I was a corporal, but they
Okay.
promoted me to sergeant while I was on terminal leave. Like they
Okay.
did that
That
with a
was a
lot of
lot.
people. So
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. I made my E5 like 2 months before I got out.
Okay.
I had to go to BLC. I don't know if you guys have BLC in the Marine Corps, basic leader course.
Yeah, they're well, what a leadership. We do have leadership courses. There's a couple different ones for like
Uh-huh.
some that are like MOS specific, and then
Yeah, yeah. So yeah, we have MOS specific for so to go from E4 to E5 is just like an ass school for everyone. Every MOS, and then ALC advanced leader course and SLC senior leader course are MOS specific. So engineers have their own. But yeah, I mean, they sent me to BLC, which is a 22-day school, 2 months before I got out. And I don't know why they wasted the slot on me. Maybe they were banking on me re-enlisting, but you know, it was 9 college credits, so I'll take it. It was
Jesus.
yeah, it was a lot. I was there from 5 in the morning to like 5 or 6 p.m. every day.
Mhm.
There was a lot of essays that we had to write, presentations, stuff like that. A lot
Mhm.
of sharp or EO stuff. I don't know if you guys do that in the Marine Corps.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it was pretty much a lot of that.
Hmm.
But it was still a grind, you know. You're late once. I mean, you're late twice, they kick you out of the school. I mean, obviously it's not hard to be on time, you know. But you'd be surprised. I mean, a lot of people get dropped for stuff like that. And then good luck coming back, you know.
Yeah.
And then, we had to pass a board too. I don't know if you guys have boards.
Yeah.
Board was rough. I'm not gonna lie. That was not an easy thing to do. I'm not a very social person, so like going in front of like sergeant major and like five first sergeants, you know, it wasn't easy.
Yeah.
But I was just always told to be confident over like if you're right or wrong.
Hmm.
I probably got all those questions wrong they asked me, but I was just super confident. They were like, "Yeah, man, like good for you." So they passed me. So I got to promote 2 months before I got out, which is was good.
All right, sick.
Resume, yeah.
Hmm. Did you plan on like doing, it sounds like you planned on doing Ranger school, like, I guess before you were going to the Army, or is that why you went?
So I actually like didn't know really anything about it before I was in the Army. My sergeant major at the time was double tab, so he had Ranger Sapper, and then he had actually had a combat jump into Iraq in 2003. It was like the last unit to be able to do that.
Okay.
Um, so it was a pretty cool stuff. So I mean, I was always not to be like cocky or anything. I was always, physically fit. I was always, doing like almost maxing my PT test.
Hmm.
I was a motivated private, you know how it is.
Yeah.
So I asked one day, I want to go to Ranger school. And at first I just kind of got shut down a lot. You're an engineer in a mech unit, like you're never going to get to go. I was like, no, like I want to go. It took about a year of back and forth between finally this my sergeant major stepped in who double tabbed. Obviously he's not going to tell him no, he's going to want me to go.
Hmm.
So about a year of that, I decided, finally got my time to go. I would have, if I were to have passed, I probably would have gone to RASP, which is how you get into the Ranger Regiment. um but as time moved on in my career, I realized that maybe staying in the Army wasn't the best option, so I really never got to hit back or anything.
Hmm.
But yeah, before the Army, I really didn't know much about it. I wasn't like I wasn't a troubled kid growing up, but I really needed like that sense of direction.
No,
So
of course.
I thought the Army was gonna be good for me, and yeah, it really was.
Yeah. What did you expect? And because like I know Marines always ask like, why'd you join? But for your case, what made you pick the Army?
Yeah, so this is another funny story. So growing up, I had a tree nut allergy. So like I was allergic to cashews and pistachios,
Okay.
and
I just
I
want to
always,
cut you off. This is already a very good start to like a very random, but also a very good start to a story here.
yeah. So I always wanted to be a Marine like my whole life.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, I had really not bad ADHD growing up, but like, I needed, to focus more, and I thought the military was gonna be great for that. Met with the Marine Corps recruiter, everything was good. Like I was ready to join as soon as I turned 17, and he found out I had a tree nut allergy. But the funny thing is I've grown out of it now, so it's not even important. But like, he didn't want to do the paperwork, the extra couple pieces of paperwork to submit a waiver for me. So he was basically like, just like, I can't help you. I'm sorry, sorry, man. Like, whatever. So I was crushed. Like, all this over, I can't eat a peanut. Like this is
Yeah.
crazy. Um, so I was like set on like I was done with the Marine Corps. Like I was done with the military. It is what it is.
Mm.
So I actually was gonna go to school to be a firefighter. EMT. And my best friend's sister called me and was like, "Hey, like, do you want to join the Army?" She was like, "I'm talking to this recruiter. I'm not going to join, but like, he might be able to help you." Yeah, he would have helped me. He helped me a lot.
Mm.
Crazy, this is so crazy now that I think of it. So he submitted all the paperwork for the waiver and everything, and the doctors at MEPS, they were like, "Hey, like, we just want you to see how you react, your skin reacts if they put a tree nut on your arm." I was like, "What?" Um, so I had to go in and they had to put a tree nut right on my arm, and I
Yeah.
had to sit there for 10 minutes. I'm thinking in my head, this is the craziest thing I've ever done. Like, this is so weird. So I'm sitting there, in suspense. Am I gonna get a reaction?
Yeah.
I'm freaking out. They take it off, no reaction. So they were like, "Okay, cool. Like, welcome to the Army." Obviously, there's more to it. That I just submit the paperwork back to them and they do approve it. But it was just like, so it was so weird. Like that's what they needed. Like really.
Yeah.
Um, but like it's pretty easy to avoid. Like I see a lot of people with allergies in the military and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But like it's just not something that I ever would think about, you know.
Hmm.
Because like I don't know, I grew out of mine thankfully, but I think they're making it a little stricter now. I know that it's harder to get into the army or military with medical background now. I think they're during GWAT they were kind of just shoving people through.
Hmm.
Now I believe they like look at like all your health records, like ER visits. You know, I don't think I'd be able to join now.
No, yeah.
But yeah, I mean, thankfully my best friend's sister reached out, or else I don't know where I would have been, honestly. Yeah.
And so when you actually like got into the army, because I know like especially with Marines, like a lot of people they get in uber motivated, and
Oh
then
yeah.
after like you hit the fleet, you're like, okay, you know, they kind of fizzle out. Was I mean, it probably wasn't for you at first because you went to Ranger school, but like, how did the progress?
Actually, it was pretty hard to adjust. I didn't grow up in like a very bad area of like growing up, so like I never really like met like different like walks of life of people, you know.
Hmm.
I mean I have, but like, you know, I would never really became friends with them. Not like saying like I wouldn't have. I'm just saying like, you know, like just like different cultures meet, you know, in the military. It's like a melting pot, you know.
Hmm.
So I actually had a hard time adjusting, and you know, like I was, you know, 18, just, you know, just at a basic, you know, like just like fitting in, you know, it was difficult. You know, you have to earn your place. And so like a lot of people have a similar struggle from like from at least from the army experience. Like, you know, it's not easy being that new private, you know, you're constantly getting shit on all the time, and you know,
Hmm.
doing details, you know, it was just like a different experience from like anything I've experienced before. So it took a little bit to adjust. Um, you know, like I was, you know, 18-year-olds working like a 9 to 5. Really it's 6:30 to 5 because, you know, PT too.
Hmm.
Um, it was a lot, you know, because you only, you know, after 5, you have a couple hours before you have to go to sleep. So like it was just, you know, a little bit of an adjustment, but I think that once people are adjusted to it, you know, that's when they start to thrive.
Hmm.
Um, you know, privates make mistakes. You know, I noticed that when I became an NCO, when I was in charge of the privates, like I was like, damn, like this is really me once. Like I was really this stupid, you know.
Yeah.
But you know, it just takes time to adjust.
Hmm.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I don't know how big hazing is in the Marine Corps. I didn't know if I really got hazed. They kind of just treated me like shit, if you know what I mean. But
Yeah.
like, you'd be
Yeah.
like, you know, it builds character at the same time. You know, it makes you into a man. I mean, I think, you know, thank my friends in my platoon for how I am today. You know.
Hmm. Yeah, it's pretty much the same in the Marine Corps. Like maybe it's like similar in the Army where like what we consider hazing doesn't exactly match with what like your higher ups
Yeah,
think
I'm
is.
sure you guys have it a lot crazier than we do.
Yeah, I mean maybe. I mean I'm sure you guys have like similar stuff, just like doing like stupid stuff like in the barracks, like late
Yeah,
at night.
actually, I could go
Like
on a crazy story right now about the
oh please.
barracks.
Yeah.
So we actually had an active shooter in our barracks.
Really? Okay.
Yes, my buddy. So when my barracks, it's kind of like a U, kind of. So like it's like this. So like the door's here in the middle, and like it kind of branches out. So I can like
Oh, okay.
see. I was on the side, so I could see like the walkway where you can get in. There's a big parking lot, whatever. So I keep my window open because obviously the heat would stay on during the summer for some reason. It was brutal. Like our rooms would be like 80 degrees. Nothing
Yep.
we could do about it. So we keep our windows open. And I look out my window and I see my buddy on a stretcher. And there's like police, like the whole place is surrounded by police. I didn't think about it. It was like what, like midnight. I had PT in the morning. I was like, damn, like I texted him, like he responded like he's okay. So like, okay, I'm gonna go back to sleep, you know?
Okay.
Um, and I hear a knock on like I didn't hear the knock at first. So at first I look outside and I see people evacuating. So I'm like, I guess the fourth floor they were starting to evacuate people. At this time, like we had no idea what was going on, right? Um, and all of a sudden, like the banging and like dogs barking and stuff, it got closer and closer to my room. But like I'm half asleep, so I'm thinking I'm dreaming about it, right?
Hmm.
I hear like Fort Carson SWAT like scream, like banging on my door, like open up the door like right now. I'm in my underwear, you know, like it's, you know,
Yeah.
1 in the morning. I open up the door and there's 4 SWAT guys pointing their ARs at me. And there's a dog, on a leash, German Shepherd barking at me. I'm like, what the hell is going on? They're
Yeah.
like, keep your hands in the air, like lay on the ground. Like they had to go room by room and clear out every room, and make sure that the active shooter was not in that room.
Jeez.
So yeah, I'm sitting there in my underwear. They're like, go put on clothes, blah, blah, blah. They're like, don't touch anything like this. Like they had to watch me change my clothes just in case, whatever.
Yeah.
So we had to walk with our hands up down to the first floor of the barracks where I see all my platoon there. Like, what the hell is going on? Basically, they went room to room and searched every room for this gun. It was a 22, I guess, that some guy shot from the 4th floor, and it hit my buddy in the shoulder.
Oh, Jesus.
Yeah, they were just drunk. So the infantry is on the 4th floor, so that explains a little bit,
Yeah.
So basically, like they never found the guy that shot. They did that. Like it took him a couple months, but like in the moment they couldn't find him. So it's no one knows what's going on. They're like strip searching our rooms, throwing everything around. Who knows what they found in people's rooms? You know how it goes. And yeah, I mean, it turns out that like a couple months later, they found the gun. It was behind. How they found it, how they didn't find it right away, I don't know. It was behind the laundry room, the washer and dryer. Some kid threw the 22 back there and left. Found the dude, actually. They arrested him like a couple months later. But like, we went on our day, with the active shooter, no idea where he was, walking up and down the barracks every other day after that. Like, damn, am I going to get shot right now?
Yeah. Meanwhile, you're the one on the watch list. It's like,
yeah, right. Yeah, that's crazy. Yeah. But
So
it was
what-
just like a crazy scenario. Yeah.
Yeah. So I was gonna say, so what actually like happened like when you were asleep?
So I guess some dude on the 4th floor, this is the top floor of our barracks, he went into some kid's room and they were drunk. And they started shooting the gun. And it was so quiet, I guess, that no one heard it. And he pointed it out the barracks and shot my buddy right in the shoulder. He could have hit him in the head or something. He would have died.
Yeah.
And I think he realized that he fucked up after that.
Yeah.
And threw the gun behind the laundry room and just booked it. And then they found him a couple months later. I mean, I'm glad they found him. I'm glad no one else got shot. But like, I just remember like my heart when they literally kicked my door down. Like I'm sleeping, like in my underwear, and I see 4 guys in SWAT gear at my door with a dog, and I'm find myself laying on the ground with my hands behind my head. I'm like, I don't think that I'm involved in this.
Yeah. Like, did you make like the connection like when they kicked your door down, or were you just
Yeah. So
Right.
I made the connection that like, okay, this is probably has to do with my buddy because he didn't tell me like what happened. He was like, just told me he's good, Called my team, my squad leader at the time. I was like, hey, like, I don't know what's going on here. Like, I sent him a video. Like, I could like probably like 100 police cars just completely surrounding my barracks. And then I remember they brought us to, I don't know if you guys call them coughs. I don't know what it stands for. It's like where we work, like where our lockers are and like the motor pool. It's like the building.
Oh, okay.
So like where we keep our gear and stuff. So they shuffled us like sardines into this one building while they searched the barracks, and I think we got back at like 7 a.m. We were there all night. And after that, like we like didn't hear about it again. That was it. Like there was like no like, hey guys, like be on the lookout. There's an active shooter,
Yeah.
No, it was like whatever. No one brought it up. Like
You just literally went on with
it just went on with their days. Yeah, like that was it. I mean, it made a U.S. Army WTF. If you know, I don't know if I think it's obviously more of an Army thing. It's an Instagram account that we have.
Oh, okay.
Like the shenanigans that we do. We send it to them. I think yours is called Terminal Lance.
Terminal Lance, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Still a good account, but yeah, ours is called U.S. Army. What the fuck? And it is it made the whole news on there. It was quite the experience. That I will never forget. They actually never took the round out of him too. It's still in his shoulder.
Oh no shit. Did you actually like know the people who were like that actually shot, or like
No, I have no idea. A lot of crazy stuff happened in our barracks. Like nothing like out of our normal for like a military like barracks, but like stuff that like an 18 like year old had never seen. Like it's just like, like it's whoa, like it's just a new life.
Yeah. It's a fraternity on steroids.
Yes. No one else I knew, would be getting drunk with me on like a Wednesday night at 1 a.m. with PT,
Yep.
Yeah, I mean, we used to run a lot. We probably ran 20 miles a week. We had this one platoon sergeant who ran 10 miles a day, and he would bring us with him on it. And one day, he was like, "You guys could never run a marathon." And we were like, a couple of us, there's probably 3 or 4 of us. We were like, "Yeah, we could." What do you mean? Like, obviously, I could run a marathon. He was like, there's no way, there's no way. So we booked a marathon to run the same week. So we drove 7 hours to the four corners of Colorado, Utah, Arizona, New Mexico. And ran 26.2 miles and then drove 7 hours back the same day. And basically, here's here it is, Sergeant. here's my marathon right here.
Yeah.
And then they made us take height and weight the next morning. It was like 30 pounds less.
Yeah.
Missed the under. But yeah, I mean, that's just like the definition of, I feel like, the military. You can't do something. Yes, I can. And just be petty about it. I never would have ran a marathon in my life. I don't care, But,
we had a similar one where we had a not like a marathon, but like for a random PT, one of our platoons, our section leaders, I should say, he made us do a half marathon, but it was like almost no notice. So we did it on a Monday, and then they gave us PT off for like the rest of the week, just because our bodies were so sore from it. And I remember one of our corpsmen, which is like our medics, go from the Navy, super nice guy and everything, but he got so upset because everybody kept going to him like, "Hey, my knees hurt, I did this or this." I remember he came out of like into our hallway and he's like, "You guys want to know how you don't like stop knee injuries or like legs from getting hurt? Don't fucking run a half marathon."
Right. So you guys can just go to your medics like that?
Yeah, well, because the way that it works with us, and I don't know if the structure is different with you guys. So like we, the Navy provides, like, we don't have any medics in the Marines. We just have like we work with the Navy, like all their but they attach our corpsmen to our platoons. So like they take the E3s, the E4s, and they basically just live like us. They do all the work with us, and they like very assimilated.
Yeah, that is not how it is with us. Medics are attached to HHC. I'm blanking on what HHC stands for. Headquarters something. Basically like Alpha Company, Bravo Company, Charlie Company, Delta Company, and Echo are like the
line companies.
Yeah, so Alpha Bravo are engineers, Charlie Delta were comms guys, and then Echo was like distro company, or basically like there's the guys that brought us our ammo and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And but there was an HHC company too, which is like sniper section, medics, admin guys, just the stuff like that.
Yeah.
And we can only go to our medics before PT. So like we had to sign a sick call slip, and if we were hurting, we had to go at like 5 a.m. to see our medics. And then they would have to send you to see the provider, but only if they thought it was provider worthy.
What?
So like, yeah, I mean, if it was like a reoccurring injury, like they just wouldn't send you. Like it was weird. Like obviously, like I never had a problem with that. If I was injured, like, most of the time they believe you. I just remember some of my like lazier friends in the Army. They would go to sick call and like for their back or something. And we had a long tabbed, which is like a retired special forces guy, got out of the Army, came back in, but you have to go through selection again, which is like the Green Beret, like training platform pipeline. So obviously he's like, I don't want to do that again. So he became a medic in a conventional unit with the special forces Ranger tab on him. So it was like, just like super like weird to see. And he used to call my buddies out all the time for faking injuries, and they wouldn't give it to him. And I just remember them like borderline crashing out. And what do you expect? Look at this guy. He's a savage,
Yeah.
But yeah, it was so hard. I mean, when I was in Lithuania, I I like slipped a disc in my back, and I went to sick call like every day for like 2 weeks straight. They're like, yeah, like we're gonna get you an MRI, blah blah blah, whatever you need. Never got any of it, you know. They gave me some ibuprofen. I couldn't even sleep, you know, on my back.
Yeah.
They were just like, you know, good luck, dude.
Mm.
And yeah, I mean, I guess it turned out well in the end. You know, I got my disability for it and everything, but
Mm.
man, that was some awful back pain. I still don't know why it was like that, but
Yeah, I was gonna ask how'd that pop out? Because like I know a lot of people will do it through like hikes or stuff like
I
that.
don't know. I mean, we used to ruck a lot, but like nothing like crazy. I don't know. I mean, we used to lift a lot too. I mean, when we were in Lithuania and Poland, we you know, if we weren't working on like our Bradleys, which required a lot of maintenance, like usually like because like I was so some background real quick.
Hmm.
Engineer platoons can get attached to infantry battalions and companies. So
Mm.
when I was in Lithuania, I was in 588 BB, which is Brigade Engineer Battalion. I was attached to 168 AR, which is Armored Regiment. So like they had Abrams platoons, which were like the tankers, and then they had Bradley platoons, which were like infantry. So we were in the HHC attachment until they needed us. So basically, they really didn't need us unless we were in the field. So like it was
Hmm.
like super chill actually. Like they really didn't bother us. Obviously, if we were in the field, we, you know, got attached to them or we're doing training or whatever. But like most of the time there, like we did our own thing. So after maintenance was done, like we would just lift.
Yeah.
You know how it goes. You know, they had the tent gym. We would lift from like, you know, 3-4 hours a day. And I'm pretty sure, you know, I probably did it to myself, you know, lifting, blah, 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 you know, but yeah, the back pain, they just like did not care.
Mm.
They gave me like some little bit of muscle relaxers, and then they were like, "Good luck, there you go, you know, best of luck to you."
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, you know how it goes in the military, saying like, "Hey, I just had heart surgery, but they just replaced my heart with potato." You know, it's pretty much military doctors.
I've never heard that, but I love that one.
It's some meme. It was like, I think it's a South Park thing. They were just like, "Hey, like, came in for heart surgery and ended with the potato as a heart." You know, it's how it goes. You know.
Hmm.
ASU just took the dub.
Yeah. Oh,
Yeah.
it's over.
Yeah, it's over. 45-19,
Beautiful, beautiful.
playoff bound.
All right. So we need, if I have it right, we need SMU to lose, and
To
then we
Clemson,
should
yeah.
be, yeah, we'll have a guaranteed first round bye. So,
Yeah, yeah. Isn't that crazy?
dude, like,
Did you go to
oh,
ASU too or no?
I did for a year and a half or
Okay,
so.
okay. Yeah, I think about it, you told me that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't be going to school. I mean, I go to ASU, but like I really wouldn't if it wasn't free, you know. Not a big school guy, but if it's free, you know, government wants to pay for it. I did my time, you know. Why not?
Oh yeah. And the GI Bill pays so generously out here too.
Yes.
So,
I'm getting just BAH is like 2.3 right now a month. Which, you know, for a 22-year-old refresh out of the army, I'll take
yes,
it.
sir. And then
Yeah.
get 12 grand on top of that, freaking set.
Yeah, yeah. Are you disabled? Do you have a disabled percentage or no?
I just got mine back, but I'll
Okay.
be honest, I did a terrible job of preparing, but I got like 10%, so I'm gonna go back and try to redo
Something's
that.
better than nothing, you know.
You're not wrong. Yeah, it is.
They make it so hard too. I mean, I remember when I was getting out of the army, they sometimes help you schedule an appointment with like the VA guys to help you with your claims.
Uh,
But they wouldn't schedule me until I was out of the army. But like,
hmm.
so they scheduled me like a month out of the army. But I'm not going to be in Colorado, you know, or
Yeah.
on person. So I feel like they did that on purpose, you know. They're
Hmm.
like, you know, we got them. So I canceled my appointment and I just did everything myself online. I ended up getting 40%. But you know, I don't know why they make it so difficult. I mean, I do know why they make it so difficult, but like I remember waiting like 6 months for my claim to be processed and stuff. Um, but yeah, I mean, I feel like that's just normal VA behavior.
No, it is. Yeah.
It's just yeah. I
Yeah. I
hope
think they take all their lessons, I think, from like insurance companies. So it's like you gotta like they're not really
yeah,
working
right.
with you.
Yeah, I mean, it was a pain. I'm not gonna lie, but yeah, I mean, if you want it, you just gotta keep pressuring them. You know how it is.
No,
I
yeah.
think that's everything in the military. You want something, you gotta keep asking about it, keep asking, or else it'll never get done.
Yeah. The only person who cares about your career is you.
Is yourself. Yep.
Those-
Mhm.
There was one photo in particular. I'm trying to remember what was the. Was there anyone that like because you sent me a lot of good ones, but I'm trying to
Let
think.
me
Is there
look.
anyone that you love in particular?
I think I sent some. Yeah. Let me
I think it's
look.
probably like 10 or so.
Okay, so looking through them. So this one, I don't know if you can see this one. The
Yes,
MRE photo. Yeah. So
that one.
that was in Poland.
Mhm.
So when we first got to Poland, we weren't allowed to have days off for some reason. I don't know why. Like
Interesting.
it was so weird. No days off. We worked like 60 days straight, and we started losing our minds, right? Because like
Yeah.
it's not like we weren't just like working like 1 or 2 hours a day. Like we couldn't even change out of our like PTs. Like PTs at the minimum we had to be in. Like I couldn't wear civilian clothes. I get it, under just like we're deployed, we're whatever.
Oh, okay.
But like yeah, we worked probably 60 days straight of like knee deep in like Bradley engine oil. Like it was a grind.
Mhm.
And eventually we were just like bro, like we need to like boost some thinking of the word.
Boost morale.
Yeah, morale. So we saw these MREs in the corner and we made a throne out of them, obviously, you know how it is. And I was just the king of the MREs, I would sit there, after work and eventually like, hey, we should like take a photo,
Mhm.
And yeah, those two next to me are the one on the left is one of my best friends to this day, Marsman.
Mhm.
He's an absolute character. He's hilarious. He looks overweight in that photo, but I've never seen someone his size be more physically fit in my life. It is insane. He almost maxed the PT test. And it's just like he's a big, he's an O-line football player, just a big boy.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, yeah, he was just a good dude. He got me through Poland, got me through Lithuania. I mean, we were intense the whole time. Poland, that tent we're in now was I think like 100-man tent.
Mhm.
Um, and then when I got to Lithuania, it was a 7 or 8-man tent. And I just remember wanting to rip my buddies' heads off towards the end of that one. But yeah, I mean, and then this photo here, this was in Poland. This is the British guys.
Okay.
They were great guys, but they were so annoying. They it would be like midnight and we'd be sleeping and they would like barge into our tents, like asking us to trade gear and stuff. Like, I can't give you my ruck, homie, like it's not
Yeah.
mine. They were like throwing us like their wet weather gear and like their like berets, their PT hoodies. Like
Mhm.
I don't even have anything to trade you, man. Like I can't. They were like asking for my helmet and stuff, like my ECH or my EC, whatever. I'm just like, man, like I can't give you this, but they just would not give up.
Oh.
Um, and now I can finally say it because I'm out. But like they would keep liquor bottles in their tanks. They call them Challies, Challenger twos, but they call them Chally wagons. And like obviously we didn't have live like rounds in there, so like all like the shell holes they would hold the shells were just liquor bottles.
That's
And
beautiful.
yeah, so like like the Danish were there. Actually, we actually got to see the Danish prince. He came to see us.
Okay.
Yeah. So the Danish were there, the Germans, the Polish. The Germans hated us. They wanted nothing to do with us.
Yeah. Well, that happens when you come through and storm through a little bit.
Yeah, right. But yeah, the Germans, the Polish, the Lithuanians, the British, we would all like just hang out.
Now, did the
And
Danish prince pay his respects to when you were on the throne on your MRE?
he didn't. So he didn't get to see our side of the like the barracks that we were in. So
Mhm.
he was just like in like the general area. Gave some speech. I didn't get to see the speech, but I got to see him. It was cool. I mean, cool. Like, not that like it really matters, but
Yeah.
um, but yeah, I mean, we would just hang out with them on the weekends. The British. It was a good time, and they actually were pressed that we didn't have tea kettles in our vehicles. Every vehicle the British have tea kettles in them.
Jesus
Yeah,
Christ.
and they were like, what the hell? Like, why do you guys not have tea? Like tea kettles in your vehicles? I was like, why would we need tea kettles? They're like to make tea, obviously. I was like, I don't drink tea.
Yeah.
They were just
Oh,
like,
we
what?
threw that in the harbor like forever ago.
Yeah, and we would say that too. And they would always make fun of our accents too. Like I don't even have an accent, but I'll say y'all or whatever,
Yeah.
And they would just make fun of it. And it's like we're so similar but so different.
Yeah.
Yeah, they were just a lot to handle. We let them drive one of our Humvees actually.
Mhm.
And they drive on the other side, and all their vehicles are stick. All their Humvees have stick shift.
Really? Okay.
Yeah, so we let him whip our Humvee, our high top Humvee, and I remember like he did one of the turns, and we went on two wheels. I thought I was cooked because I
Oh,
was the idiot that let him drive it.
yeah.
And we flip over, that's on me. So first
Mm.
and last time. Yeah, I mean, the picture I sent you with the that's me and my best friend. Actually, he lives in Arizona now. Did basic training with him. He was my next door roommate in Colorado. Lived in the same tent as me in Poland. His name's Sean. The
Mhm.
sniper section, since we took him out to the demo range, they let a couple of us come to their sniper range, which was cool. We got to shoot the 50 cal, couple of silenced 7.62s, just like good time. I mean, I've never shot a long gun before, but
Mhm.
it was a good time. They actually hip fired the 50 cal. They would just bring it down like this, and they would go boom, boom, boom.
Okay.
Yeah, so it was some cool stuff. Definitely a great experience. If I were to join the army again, I definitely would try to get into the sniper section. Those guys had a good.
Had a good go.
Yeah, they definitely did. Yeah, I mean, the picture with the me and my buddy with the C4, I mean, that's enough C4 to take down a lot of buildings right there. They would just hand us C4.
Which one's the C4 again? Is it the first one?
Um, yes, the first one. So C4 is actually moldable. It's like silly putty actually. So you
Okay.
can take it out of the wrapping paper and you can it's like Play-Doh. I can like squish it into whatever I want.
Interesting.
So we used to make these big wieners out of them, like these huge, 15-pound C4 like dicks, and we'd blow
Oh,
them up.
yeah.
And you know, I don't have a picture of it. I don't have a picture of me with it, so I didn't want to post anything, because the guys that have the picture are still in the army, so I don't want them to get
Oh,
in trouble or anything. But
yeah.
yeah, I mean, we would like take the wrapping out of the C4 and just mold it into whatever we wanted. And it would leave a pretty big crater in the ground.
Mhm.
C4 is a cutting charge, so it'll cut through steel or whatever you want it to cut through.
Mhm.
Which is a great time. Who doesn't love explosions and stuff like that?
And so, like an actual, I don't know what you call it, but like a block of C4
Yeah.
or whatever. Like how much can you blow up with that per se?
So it depends. You need to do like math for that. Um,
Hmm.
it's called the new and MSD. So like net. So basically, you have to calculate the net explosive weight. I don't know like how much I can like say about it. I'm sure I don't know. So I'm just gonna leave it at that. Basically, like you can
Are you
calculate
still on
it.
a watch list or like?
Yeah, for life, I think.
Oh,
Um,
really?
yeah. So like, I mean, it's not really like anything secretive. It's basically just like the math you need to calculate how many blocks of C4 for what you want to blow up.
Oh, okay.
Um, Basically, like in the equation, there's a P, which obviously doesn't stand for plenty, but we would say P means plenty, so just stick as much as you want on there. Um, but basically, you could use it for like tree cutting. Engineers do a lot of tree cutting, so basically, like you want that road like completely destroyed or
Mhm.
like be completely blocked. We can blow up the trees where they fall onto the road, so like vehicles can't get through, stuff like that.
Yeah.
Um, but what it can break or like cut through, it's just depending on what the material is. It just depends. So like it's been a pretty long time since like I've like reviewed any of it, but so I
No.
believe TNT and dynamite are more of like a pushing charge rather than a cutting. So C4 is more cutting, and then we use um it's called shape charges and crater charges basically. So the crater charge will put like a 20-30 foot crater into the ground.
Mm.
um yeah, so the shape charge will blow up, and basically it's like a cone, and when the cone heats up, it inverts and shoots into the ground and leaves like a 5 or so foot hole in the ground so that you can put the crater charge in that hole tamp it down with dirt, and it will blow up a whole road. I mean, it will completely stop any vehicles from using that road or wherever you want them to do it. And you
Okay.
could blow up like 20, 30 crater charges at a time, set distance apart and just make a trench or whatever.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, so there's some cool stuff we used to do. I mean, the dirt would go flying 100 and 200 meters in the air. But yeah, I mean, good times for sure.
Now I imagine to a degree, like they probably have like a kill radius or something, but like for safety, like how
So
far?
minimum safe distance. So you calculate the net explosive weight, and then based off of that, you would basically cube it. This is all from memory, so I know someone in the comments is going to be like, he's doing it wrong. It's been a while, all right. I don't really, it's been a couple of years.
Yeah.
But you would cube it, and then you would calculate for with fragmentation, which is like like the metal shrapnel, whatever, like where you need to stand to be safe from that, where you need to stand to be safe from without fragmentation, and then where you had to stand to be safe with like a blast shield.
Oh, okay.
So after that, you know where you're able to stand. But yeah, I mean, that's pretty much it. A lot of math actually goes into it. And fun fact, engineers have the lowest ASVAB score average out of the whole military for some reason.
Interesting. Yeah. And you guys still have to be able to, you're probably one of the few MOSs that uses math too.
Right? Yeah. That and Fisters, I would bet. Yeah, Fisters are cool too. They're a cool job.
Fisters are the maybe I'm thinking of the wrong one. Are they
FOs?
FOs? Yeah.
Reserves, yeah. Yeah, I mean, obviously I never got to see them call in any airstrikes or anything. Or actually, no. Fisters call it from the ground, so like field artillery.
Yeah.
Air Force TAC-Ps are the ones that call it in from the air.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, they were cool guys when we were overseas with them.
Yeah, they're pretty cool. Being a mortarman, we have like our own like small team of FOs, and we train a little bit.
Oh yeah, cool. Yeah, I forgot about that. Yeah.
Yeah, don't quiz me on my job knowledge. I'm probably way worse than you did.
Yeah, I mean, it's been a while. We brain dump it.
Oh, 100%. Yeah, that's one thing I don't like about being a vet to a degree is like, yeah, I almost feel kind of ashamed that like I'm not like as assimilated back, because like there'll be some quotes or some gists like that I just won't understand, and I'm like I feel kind of guilty for it. Like
yeah. I mean, it happens, time goes on, you start to forget, but you remember the good stuff, that's really all that matters.
Oh, 100%. Now, I did want to ask, but it sounds like you guys probably didn't, but you guys got like no libo when you were in Europe, right? For Poland or Lithuania?
Yeah. So my platoon just got really unlucky. When we were in Poland at first, like they make you do like the stand down time where like you can't leave the base, whatever, you're just working. And then my platoon out of the whole battalion was the only engineer platoon that got attached to an infantry battalion.
Okay.
We got a mission, in Lithuania, so the rest of the platoon or the rest of the battalion stayed back in Poland. And then my platoon got to go to Lithuania, where we sat on the border and like pulled security, but like nothing crazy. But like we weren't allowed to leave our camp. We could go to the capital of Lithuania on the weekends, but like you had to be back at a certain time,
Yeah.
The rest of my battalion got to take 4 days, 5 days, and go out to like Italy, Greece, party. And I would see them all messaging us, and like we're stuck in like the middle of the forest in Lithuania, doing nothing. But it is what it is. It's the definition of the army. Vilnius was great. I went there one time, the capital of Lithuania. It's basically just like a Chicago, but like cleaner and safer. If that I mean, it was great.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, it was pretty annoying. I didn't get to go to Italy or any of those places. At the end of the day, it is what it is. They didn't get to shoot 2 gunneries, stuff like that. So I guess I'll take it. But yeah, I mean, they said they would send us videos all the time, just living it up at some club in Italy.
Yeah. Meanwhile, I'm the king of this tent.
Yeah, I'm the king of MREs over here.
Did Other than Europe, I mean, did you go overseas anywhere else, or how did that?
I wish. Born too late. The saying, born too late to deploy to the Middle East, born just in time. But I really was, born just too late. I was born in '02, so by the time I was 18, it was 2020. There weren't really any other deployments going anywhere else,
Yeah.
especially in a heavy mechanized unit. So basically, it's like by brigade in the Army. There's like 10 armored brigades in the Army, and they all just rotate. So they go to Kuwait, Korea, and Europe.
Mm.
So basically, like it's just a rotation of like which platoon or which brigade is where.
Yeah.
But like my second brigade got to go to Syria. It's just how it is. Luck of the draw.
Yeah.
Obviously, I would love to go somewhere like that, or I'd love to go to Africa. A lot of National Guard units get to go over there all the time.
Yeah, funny you mentioned that. A guy I knew that I worked with, he's going there too. That's in the National Guard.
Oh, okay, yeah. I think the Arizona National Guard got back from Jordan and Syria not too long ago. But yeah, the National Guard deploys more than active duty does, actually.
Yeah, I was gonna ask about that because that's like a thing with Marines, because like Marine
will
go everywhere that we want to go, but we don't like get it. That's a thing with the Army too.
Yeah, but they go for like when I was in Lithuania, the National Guard unit, there was an ADA there, which is like air defense artillery. So like they had like the Stinger missiles and everything, because I guess like the Russians and like the Belarus army would fly these like drones over. I didn't really hear much about it, but like I guess that was their job to shoot them down or whatever. And they were there for like a year and a half. Like they like in the tents the whole time. I was there for 9 months. They by the time we got there, they had been there, and by the time we left, they were still there. So trade-offs. You get to go cool places, but you're there for a year and a half, whatever. The guys in the National Guard were in Jordan for a year. I mean,
okay,
yeah. Maybe too long.
yeah. Look at that. What's the? Yeah, I don't know. Be careful what you wish for, I guess you could say.
Yeah, I mean, you can volunteer for deployments in the National Guard too. Actually, there's like this is all like what I hear, from my buddies. There's like some website that you can request like deployments. Like say like Illinois National Guard's going somewhere, but I'm in Arizona. I can request to deploy with them in their unit.
Okay.
Yeah. So I mean, if you're deployment chasing, I think that'd be a better idea. Yeah. No, not for me though. I'm good. I am done with the Army.
Yep.
And
the Harvard of the West Coast over here. So
yeah, right. Looking back, but not looking back.
Oh yeah.
One
other thing I wanted to ask, so just because this is the first ever like Army Marine kind of episode a little bit, but what is the? Obviously, you can only speak for. Well, I guess you can speak for others, but what is like the overall like view or impression of the Marine Corps that you guys have? Like being
honestly, that's a good question. I never really worked with a lot of Marines, but like, we always thought that, or from just like my experience, we always thought that like you guys were like, always like our big brother kind of, but like not our big brother, I don't know. We never really thought about it because I never really worked with many Marines.
Yeah.
I mean, for me personally, I always had a lot of respect for y'all because like it seems like however bad we had it, y'all had it worse. So I mean, even like if you want to just like think about like living situation, like you had to share a room with someone your whole time in the Marine Corps.
Yeah.
Yeah, I didn't have to do that. I had my own room.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So like even just like stuff like that, like it doesn't seem like it's a lot, but like it makes a big difference. Like I had to share I had a kitchen too, but like I had to share a kitchen, but like I had my own room, which made a huge difference. Like for y'all, like I see like you have like the room inspections, like every crazy room inspections every Friday. Like we had room inspections too, but like not like the crazy
white glove kind of thing.
Yeah. I guess it also depends on like, leadership and everything. It's platoon dependent, but like I don't know, like I always saw you guys like in videos and stuff, especially like on Terminal Lance and all that, just like sucking ass in the field. Like we sucked ass too, but like I don't know, it just seems tough.
Yeah.
So, yeah, crazy respect for you guys, but I never really worked with many Marines, so I really don't know like how different it is.
Okay.
Like, I always saw you guys rocking the high speed gear and stuff.
Mhm.
And yeah, I mean, I was always a little jealous, not gonna lie.
Oh yeah, yeah. We're starting to upgrade our gear a little bit. It wasn't like it. I know when I was getting out, we were kind of going more toward like the I don't want to say tactical, but the
Mm-hmm.
yeah rocking all the high speed stuff a little bit.
Here's the cat. She's getting annoyed that I'm not giving her attention.
She hasn't tried to crawl across your keyboard or anything, has
She
she?
has actually. I just keep
Oh,
redirecting her. Yeah. Well, yeah.
what up, G?
Go, go.
Now, just for the sake of it, because it's entirely Marines with like some Navy scattered in that mostly watch for right now, I do have to ask just for it. But if you had to articulate why the Army's better than the Marines, just for the brother rivalry,
Yeah.
what's
I
your
mean,
case?
obviously we're better, bigger
Mhm.
branch, I just think that we're more versatile, a little bit more versatile, a lot more we can do, it just depends though, like if you want to fight like a long war, like Army, like send the tanks in, send the Bradleys in, but like if you want to like a quick like rapid deployment, I think the Marine Corps would be better for that. But I just think that like if we're gonna talk like like rivalry here, I think that you can just do more with the Army. There's a lot more like it's just more versatile, more you can do.
Yeah,
Um, I don't know like how the funding situation works between the two branches. Like I don't know if you guys had a lot of funding in your unit or not, but like I feel like the amount of funding you had is the amount is like kind of similar to the experience that you had in like the military.
yeah,
Um, heavy mechanized unit like mine, like we got a lot of funding, but it was allocated towards the vehicles. So I really like we didn't get to do like as much as I really wanted to,
yeah.
because all that funding went towards like maintaining the vehicles. Um, I just wish we did a little bit more training, stuff like that. But yeah, I just think that the Army can like just do a lot more, deploy more. Maybe not faster or whatever, because it takes a while to get the vehicles and stuff onto the trains or whatever, wherever we're taking it. But
Mhm.
yeah, I just think that you can just do a lot more with the military. A lot, signing up wise. I remember I could pick my MOS right away with the Army. I knew what I was doing. Like Marine Corps is a little different. You
Mhm.
don't really have like an exact like this is what you're doing. Maybe you do, but this is just from what I've heard and stuff like that.
Yeah. With the Marines, you do have a say in your MOS, obviously, if you meet the criteria and it's available. But yeah, you do get the priority with your MOS if you pick
Okay.
it.
Nice. Okay, yeah. I mean, I'm sure that like it's pretty similar. I mean, to like lifestyle, maybe a little bit different in the Marine Corps.
Mhm.
But I always root for the Army over that one.
Oh, of course. Well, you have to. I mean, it's your branch.
Yeah.
I would say that's pretty articulate and accurate. I mean, like we are the smallest branch, so it makes sense that we get the less amount of funding. I would say,
Yeah.
but
But you
I do like your tactical argument though. It's like if you want to fight a more conventional war, go with the Army because we're bigger, more variety. But Marine
yeah.
Corps is more of like that quick response force kind of thing.
Yeah, 100%. That's what the different branches are for. I don't want to say like one's better than the other. They're all just have to play their part,
Hmm.
which is always cool to see.
Yeah, but hey, it's brotherly rivalry.
Yeah, yeah. Army Navy games coming up too, I believe.
Oh, that is right. Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Army's pretty good this year. They just won their conference, I believe. If I
Yeah,
could be wrong, but I heard they just won their conference.
they did win. Yeah, actually. Navy was good up until like the last few games.
Yeah, then they kind of fell off a little bit.
Yeah, I remember we were at the cusp of it, but there were talks that there could be an Army Navy, but like in the playoff, like that would have been
That would have been awesome. Yeah.
yeah. But thanks Notre Dame, you had to shove that
Yeah,
one
Notre
down.
Dame shut you guys out.
Yeah, only for Notre Dame probably to lose like in the first round of the playoff or something like they always do.
Yeah.
All right. Well, been on pretty long. I'll leave it up to you if there's any like other stories, like anything else that you wanted to bring up or talk about or ask. But
I don't know if I have any other crazy stories. It was definitely interesting when I hit E5, but
how
yeah,
long were you in E5 for when you were?
like
I
2 or
imagine it
3
was like
months.
last year. Oh, okay.
Yeah, I mean, like I had a team. I mean, I was a team leader at like PFC to E4,
Hmm.
E3 to E4. So I was pretty familiar with the whole like leadership thing, but still don't know why they sent me to BLC and all that.
I'm a little curious just because this is one thing that at least Marines notice like more culturally in the Army,
Mhm.
but you might be the exception given what you said. But it sounds like because in the Marines, like it tends like you can get into a leadership position pretty much like after a year or like after your first deployment, like pretty quickly. But it looks like in the Army, you guys like don't really like. It seems like a lot of people don't get leadership billets or anything like that until like after like their first enlistment or like after they've been in
So
for a little bit.
it depends. I mean, it's just like what you what you put in is what you get out. So like
Hmm.
if like you're a pretty high speed private and like your platoon leadership knows that, like, you know, maybe you could get a team at an E3. It's pretty difficult to do. Like I was only a team leader because we didn't have enough E5s at the time.
Yeah.
Um, but like the E4 for you for us is like kind of like a corporal for you guys. We have a corporal rank, but like it's pretty much an E4.
He's a specialist. Is that what you
Yeah,
mean?
career specialist. If you go to BLC and graduate, um, I forget how it works, but you can get corporal some way that way as well. Um, and a lot of E4s have teams. Actually, it's pretty common for E4s to be in team leader.
Hmm.
Um, but if there is an E5 that is doing his job well, then obviously he'll be in charge. But it's pretty it's not uncommon to see shitty E5s get replaced by E4s, and then the E4s are above the E5s.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, I mean, you could really be a team leader at whatever rank you are. It's just how well you're performing, you know.
Hmm. I imagine it probably varies too, because I also like we also forget just how huge like the Army is. Like
Yeah,
it's
yeah.
like
Um,
there's probably
there's
a bunch of different cultures and like ecosystems that you guys got within that whole branch.
I mean, it's pretty MOS dependent. Like MPs, like if you're an E2 talking to an E3, like you're at parade rest. Like it's pretty weird. Yeah.
Yeah.
But I mean, like engineer culture from like what I've like experienced, it's pretty laid back. I mean, I'll talk to E4 down, whatever, hang out. And even some situations like E5s, E6s, like we got pretty close. I mean, I would, first name basis almost. Obviously not in front of senior leadership, but like,
No,
if
of course, yeah.
out, like it's a first name basis. I mean, I was pretty close by the time I got out with my platoon leadership. First name, we would hang out outside of work, stuff like that.
Hmm. Yeah. Yeah. It's a little, yeah, I would say fairly similar with the Marines. I mean,
Mhm.
obviously, like, like your peer group, obviously you'll be more on like a first name basis, but like leadership stuff, you kind of work your way into that.
Yeah, yeah, 100%. Yeah.
Sick. Well, so we usually have like an ending tradition to wrap up the show, but
Mhm.
I'm gonna see if this will kind of work just because we've done it the last couple episodes. But is there anybody that you think that if you want to call out to like be on the show that you think would be funny?
I can ask so I have one of my best friends here. He was in the 75th Ranger Regiment, two of them. And I mean, I can ask them. I'm sure they'd be great podcast material. They have so much to talk about.
Okay.
Um, I would
I
have
think
to
we
ask
talked
them.
about getting that. Didn't we
Yeah,
talk
I
about getting
mean,
that at one point?
I would ask them for sure because I honestly I would like to see what they have to say too, because I don't know, I really never like I've talked to them about like their military experience, but like I never really talked to them about it.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
like I would like to see what they have to say. So I'll call them out, Dan and Christian. I'll call them out. I'll see if they're interested in kind of hopping on here and seeing what it's about.
Sick. We'll have to get you on too, see if we can.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, I'd love to go back on.
And so the big thing we do to wrap up. So if you do have anything to like promote, like if you have like social media, you want people to follow you, or anything that you're pursuing, you want people to look you up on. But for all the guys that are still in right now, military as a whole, any
Mhm.
advice you got to give to them?
Just keep your head down and keep grinding. A lot of the time in the military, like it's got to come from you, if you want to succeed. No one's gonna be able to do it but yourself. push to go to that extra school and push to go on, just, I don't want to say like volunteer for everything, but like do your best to like make yourself a good soldier, because no one wants to work with someone who's like a shitbag or something like that.
Yeah.
Also, complaining is good, but not all the time. That was one of my biggest pet peeves. We're in the field and people are complaining, left and right. Like, we get it, like it sucks, but like, there's a time and place for it. Just keep your head down and keep grinding it out.
Mhm.
The military changes your life for the better. So just let it change you.
Yeah, I agree. I love that. So I don't know if you go by Andy or Andrew. Whichever.
Andrew, yeah, just Andrew.
All right, perfect. Well, hopefully I'll see you at the gym, ideally before I leave. But
yeah, it's crazy you're leaving, man.
I know I gave very little. Like, it's weird I'm doing it right after my Muay Thai fight, that because I was at the USMTO and now I'm like dipping pretty much right after.
Yeah, you're gonna find a new gym or no?
Yeah, I'll be in Albuquerque for I think till March/April. So, and there's a boxing promotion on the East Coast that I want to go fight on. So I'm gonna try to focus on that a little bit, or find out whenever their next event is. So,
Not bad, yeah.
that'll be fun. And I don't know if you're gonna be fighting soon, but I mean,
I hope, man.
I'd be there for that.
I hope, yeah. I think I got a couple more months. I don't think Kevin will let me fight yet, but every day we're getting closer and closer.
I love that.
Yeah, I would fight tomorrow if they let me. Yeah.
I see. It fits in with the words of wisdom that you just gave. Stay on the grind.
Yeah, keep your head down and grind. No one wants it. No one wants it better than you want it yourself.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
All right, Andrew. Well, we'll definitely keep on. We'll be fighting pretty soon, hopefully one day. But
yes.
For the audience, but though, hey, thank you, Andrew. I appreciate it. First Army episode, so
yes, hopefully more to come.
Yeah, stay Army strong, something like that.
All
All right, bye, everybody.
Bye.